And joining us now is our newsmaker and a very special exclusive guest, Professor Adrian Hill, vaccinologist and director of the Jenner Institute and professor of human genetics at Oxford University, that's driving the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. First of all, Professor Hill, is this today a day to smile? Can we say that we possibly have another important tool to halt the COVID-19 pandemic in the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine based on these interim trials?
Yes, I think we can. The really good news is the world now has 3 vaccines that are reporting high efficacy on large numbers of subjects in very large trials with excellent safety data, and then a couple of additional findings as a bonus. And those 2 in this trial are firstly seeing that there's even higher protection against severe COVID and hospitalization. In fact, we had no cases of hospitalization in our vaccinated subjects in this huge trial. And secondly, an original finding looking at the asymptomatic infected individuals, those who were infected but were well. We see a substantial reduction in those subject cases on vaccination.
So not a single of the various patients that you had during the trial was hospitalized, am I correct?
Who had been vaccinated, yes.
Who had been vaccinated.
Some were who were given the control, which was not a vaccination for COVID.
Right.
So yes, that's an encouraging sign.
You know, one of the top line headlines this morning was that the overall result showed that the Oxford vaccine offered 70% protection. Now, when I compare that to a Pfizer, Moderna, which claim more than 90% protection, explain that to our viewers. Why is it 70% in the case of the Oxford vaccine and 90% in the case of the other vaccines?
So what we did was we had such large numbers in the trial, we had the opportunity to compare the Oxford vaccine tested in 2 different dosing regimes. So in one of those, we gave everybody the full dose of vaccine. In the other group, we gave people half a dose followed by the full dose. And what was really interesting is that regimen, which is pretty new, everyone else is using the same dose twice, gave 90% efficacy. In contrast to 60% in the other regime, if you average them out, it's 70%. But of course, we're allowed to go forward with the better regimen, which is exactly what we are going to do. So yes, it's about 90% is what we're seeing with the regime that we're going to take forward.
So Professor Hill, what therefore it means is that the Oxford vaccine matches the efficacy of other vaccines by simply slightly tweaking its dose. That increases efficacy from 70 to 90%. If I take half a dose and then take the full dose, that double dose gets 90% efficacy. Am I correct?
That's what we saw. Yes, exactly.
In a sense, therefore, are you going to be are we looking at a 2-dose regimen vaccine as far as the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is concerned?
Yes, indeed. And all the 3 vaccines that have reported good efficacy so far use 2 doses. Very hard to get this to work with 1 dose. We had to look at that. The immune responses weren't high enough in our view. So the other advantage, of course, of this low-dose, high-dose regimen is that you get more vaccine for every amount that you manufacture, because you're now getting twice as many vaccinees with the first dose as you were going to if you gave them a full dose.
One of the other, of course, big advantages that the Oxford vaccine is said to have is that you don't have the same stringent cold chain requirement that Moderna and Pfizer requires. Pfizer requires to be stored at -76, Moderna at -20. Presumably, Oxford will be at regular refrigerator temperatures.
Yes, we will. Like most vaccines that we use every day, everywhere in the world, our vaccine is stable at 4 degrees. It's only these very new RNA vaccines where so far people have not been able to stabilize them. Maybe that will happen someday, but at the moment, yes, you need freezers and sometimes deep freeze.
And the costs, Professor Hill, there are various numbers doing the rounds. I'm told it could be priced at around £3 in Britain, much less than Pfizer and Moderna again. Has that been worked out or has that been left for a later date?
No, that was agreed last April between the university when we were licensing to AstraZeneca, and AstraZeneca sub-licensed to the Serum Institute of India. And the provision that goes through that agreement is that for high-income countries, during the pandemic, the price will be around about $3 per dose. Not £3, $3.
$3 per dose.
Per dose. Whether you're in the United States or you're in Burkina Faso in Africa, the same price. After the pandemic is over, that price limit remains in low and middle income countries, but not in rich countries. So there's an opportunity for the company to make money then after the pandemic. But for the moment, our priority is not that. Our priority is ending this pandemic.
You know, all of this is very good news that's coming out. You have in Serum Institute of India, your India partner, and the big question everyone is asking in India, when do you expect to actually have the vaccine ready first for emergency use? Serum Institute of India seem to suggest possibly by January. Is that realistic? Are you looking to go to the UK regulator as early as next month?
We're 23rd of November. We won't get to the UK regulator by the end of November. That's a week away. But certainly soon after that, we would hope to file for what's called emergency use authorization. And we will do that in the UK. We will do that in the European Medicines Agency for continental Europe. And hopefully we can work with Serum and with the Drug Controller General of India, DCGI, to see how quickly an application can be made for Indian use as well.
So
yes,
would I be right in saying, given the positive results that have come today, that January for emergency use in India, given that Serum has the capacity to produce at a very high level millions of doses, is realistic?
I think it depends on two things: how quickly we can get all the information to the regulator to review, and how quickly the regulators can review it. And I think both of those activities will proceed very quickly in this case. So yes, early January would be the target.
So the first stage, of course, as you said, is emergency use, which presumably is for care home resident staff, followed by healthcare workers, and then the plan is to work down age groups. So has a time plan been made where, let's say, 6 months, 9 months from now, we could be in a position to actually have it available to millions of people?
Well, I think that's for each country to decide. I've seen a plan very recently from the Department of Health in the UK, aiming to vaccinate most people by April. But of course, the more vulnerable, the more elderly before that. The task in India is much greater, of course, because the population is so much larger. But you do have the world's largest vaccine manufacturing companies. So that's a big plus for India.
You know, the question that a number of people are asking, Professor Hill, normally it takes years for vaccine development. You managed to fast forward and crunch this process. We're now looking, as you said, possibly by next month, emergency use vaccine. What has changed? What explains the dramatic success, if I may use the word, of the efforts put in by you and others in vaccine development this time?
Yes, I teach our students that it takes 10 years to develop a vaccine. We're on month 10 at the moment. This has been different in many ways. We have had enormous help from all sorts of quarters, from the funders who have provided money very rapidly, from the regulators who've been available day and night to look at amendments to our protocols, to the support of international agencies who have raised funding to pay for these doses that we would now hope will be manufactured and distributed, and being allowed to overlap the phases of clinical trials. So normally we have to finish phase 1, get all the details from that trial in maybe 100 people before going on to the next 1,000 people. They were overlapping those applications this time. So I think we have learned about some ways in which we can accelerate vaccine development in general. But, you know, the world has to decide at many levels that this is a priority for trials to go so extraordinarily quickly.
Just wanted a quick clarification, Professor Hill, that Dr. Hill, that this two vaccine regimen, will the second vaccine be about a month after the first one? Is that the way you see the two dosages working?
Yes, we've looked at 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months. They're all about the same. So 1 month interval would be sensible because you want the second dose as quickly as possible.
Are you already, if I may ask in conclusion, are you all already celebrating, or should I say any celebrations given the regulatory approvals required, given the need to ensure complete safety, are premature at this stage? Is it a day to celebrate?
We are not at the finish line yet, but we have overcome the final fence on the way. So now that we have efficacy data, a lot of what we have to do is administrative and a lot of paperwork creation and perfection and submission. And that's going to be very busy over the next few weeks. But yeah, by the end of the year, we should have some celebration.
And may I ask how many people have actually been involved in this exercise? How many people at Oxford have been involved in this entire exercise to bring this all together?
So narrowly, 270 people have been working really hard night and day in many cases. They're pretty exhausted having got this far. But there are hundreds more. There are 19 trial sites just in the UK for the UK trial. Brazil has been absolutely amazing. They started after us and they have caught up. They have vaccinated over 10,000 people. Large trial going on in South Africa and in Kenya. They have started now. Of course, Serum have their own trial in India, and there's a trial of 40,000 people gearing up. And I think they told me this morning they had vaccinated 10,000 in the United States. So everything is still very much happening.
This is terrific news, Professor Hill. I want to say it's early Christmas, and as a former Oxonian, I feel a deep sense of pride in what you and your fellow vaccinologists may well have achieved. I think you have every reason to smile, really, Professor. There's good news.
Thank you for being another one of our supporters. We've had a lot of support. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for sharing that news with us. The AstraZeneca Oxford University vaccine could be with emergency use in Britain by December, possibly in India with Serum Institute by January. That is terrific news coming in there from Oxford. The big challenge, of course, will remain distribution, Professor Hill. I guess that's going to be the other big challenge. Am I correct?
Two big challenges: manufacturing enough and distributing it quickly. Those are the next challenges.
Right. Well, we'll wait for those challenges at a later date. For now, the good news is coming in from your trials of the vaccine you've developed. Thanks very much, Professor Hill, for taking the time off. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.